Hey guys, super excited for the three fragrances I'm going to talk to you about today. They are from one of my favorite niche houses, a French house called Une Nuit Nomade, and their most amazing fragrance, Jardin de MISFAH, this one right here. So now we have three new Extrait De Parfum fragrances. They're in this discovery set. I'm going to talk to you about them. There's a Extrait De Parfum of Jardin de MISFAH, my favorite, plus one focused on saffron and another focused on vanilla. So find out about Une Nuit Nomade's collection legends fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. Yes, I'm talking about Une Nuit Nomade. I've got a ton of videos on the channel on this house. Actually, I should say I've got the brand featured in a lot of videos. You can search the channel, but also there should be a few, one or two standalone videos on the house. And here I am doing a video on this collection. I actually got to sample this trio of fragrances earlier this year in March. So I met up with the brand and they had some samples ready and I got to sample them. So there's a vanilla, which is the third fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, but it's a dark, not so gourmand take on vanilla. And then of course there's the saffron, which to me is leathery and also metallic. And then we have the Extrait De Parfum version of Jardin de MISFAH. So if you guys don't know Jardin de MISFAH, it's a favorite fragrance from this house. Absolutely love it. Very unique. It's got rose, it's got saffron, it's got honey, and I believe it has dates. And so what I like about it is it seems like it's a bit complex to wear, but it shines in the heat. And there's definitely something tart there as well when you're wearing it. So I like that kind of sweet tart experience on me. And I absolutely love the way it smells. I discovered the house first at Javoy in Paris in 2019, but the brand was being sold here at San Francisco's ZGO Perfumery, and I bought my first bottle of Jardin de MISFAH back in 21 during the height of the pandemic. I've gone through that whole bottle, loved it, now on the second bottle, and let's go ahead and talk about the extract. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Jardin de MISFAH first because it's been made into a Extrait De Parfum. But let me show you a little bit of how this opens up. This is the discovery set right here. If I can get that to focus there. I really like the presentation of this house. But what we've done is basically everything seems really amazing. The collection is awesome. I love the fragrances of this house. But now we've got the more deeper, richer, higher concentration fragrances in the Extrait De Parfum, collection of fragrances. The brand is owned by these two. Really wonderful couple. And again, I love this house. I love this house. Absolutely. It's one of my favorite French houses. If I was to do a ranked list of my favorite French houses, let me know if you want that video. Most likely this house would end up at number one because I absolutely click with the brand. I love the fragrances, amazing, creations, and so on. So the three extracts are created by Jerome de Marino, who created the original Jardin de MISFAH. This right here. Come on now, focus. There we go. Let me know if you're a fan of Jardin de MISFAH. Put a comment down below. Let's go ahead and start sampling these fragrances. We're going to do the original, well, not the original, but we're going to do the Jardin de MISFAH, which is basically an extract version of the original Jardin de MISFAH. And the two other fragrances are brand new. So it's interesting that they did that. They did an extract of a very popular fragrance, once again created by the same perfumer who created the original in EDP, and then two new ones. So here is Jardin de MISFAH. Let's go ahead and sample it. But before I do, I'm going to tell you the notes. Davana, Rose Absolute, Dates, Honey, and Almonds. Right off the bat, I'm getting the fragrance reminding me of what I remember the original smelling like. It's basically what it's, giving me the idea of. It's got that sweet tart, take on this fragrance. So it has honey. It also has dates. So you got that, but something in here throws in a bit of tartness, which I quite like. And for me, tart fragrances are perfect in the heat. It's almost like they cut through the humidity. I always envision wearing lemons, the tart kinds, and the heat and humidity. And this kind of, even though there's no mention of lemons, maybe they do have something lemony in there, because I do get that kind of tart experience. But for me, the rose is very, I mean, it reminds me of the original a lot, really does. The dates are there for sure, the honey and the almonds, and of course that brightness with the rose and the Davana. The Davana actually is starting to become a favorite note of mine. If you didn't recall, the Davana was also featured in Juicebox's 54, which is the fragrance I collaborated on with the Juicebox. Julian Rasquinet created that, and he featured Davana. For me, it adds a kind of a greenish, bright, boozy layer, a bit more like aromatic and somewhat pine-like as well. Almost like wormwood or something like that, but not quite the same smell. And here I feel like it's giving us, maybe, you know, it's contributing to the tartness of the fragrance. But, you know, this is getting deeper. I feel like this is going to settle to more of an ambery experience when it dries down. For me, that's what Extrait De Parfum fragrances end up doing, especially if they're recreating or a take on an original fragrance. So boost up the base with more of denser notes, and I feel like there's definitely going to be woods here and also ambery touches as well. But for me, this smells like the original, but a more thicker take on the original. Let's quickly spray the original as well, just to do a quick side by side. It's interesting, they smell so different side by side. I feel like the original is a bit on the wimpy side when you compare it to the extract. The extract is just in your face, amazing. Now, whoa. I don't want to say the original is wimpy because that's what I'm familiar with. It's my favorite. I love that fragrance. But this overpowers the EDP so much. Most of you probably, if you like the original, you're probably going to like this extract. It is more pricey for sure, 100 ml for 260 euros, but it is an Extrait De Parfum, so highly concentrated. I mean, it depends on your mood, I suppose. As I was mentioning, I love the original when it's really hot outside. It's not the kind of fragrance you typically would wear. I mean, I don't have any rules. I wear what I want when I want, and I think the heat makes this fragrance even come alive further, and that's what I like about it. Here with the extract, though, I might have to think twice about it. Again, I don't have rules. If I like the way it smells and I can tolerate it, I will wear it. But damn, I'm really, really loving this extract version of Jardin de MISFAH. Again, Jardin de MISFAH has been one of my favorite fragrances. I absolutely love it. In fact, we featured it in a Scent Club kit. If you were buying the Scent Club kits from early on, it was in kit number, I don't know if I'm drawing a blank. Was it in number 4? I think it was in number 4. And again, I select my favorite fragrances in the kits and usually end up featuring my favorite fragrances in the kits. And Jardin de MISFAH was in kit number 4. And by the way, guys, we've dropped kit number 12. I'm doing a quick segue here and talk about this kit before we run out. If you haven't been able to get your kit yet, kit number 12 featuring Imperial Peacock from the house of Alexander J. This is a great autumn fragrance. Then we've got Mousse Luminée from the house of Rogue Perfumery. And then finally, L'Eau de Mortel from the house of Voyage Imaginaires. All 3 of the fragrances are in the kit. Let me show you here. So it's ready to go now. I have it linked in the info box. But yeah, we featured Jardin de MISFAH, the original, in Scent Club kit number 4. And I feel like this new extract is going to be a big hit, especially for those folks who love the original. And I know the original has a lot of fans. And also, going back to Jerome de Marino a little bit, I'm actually noticing this guy does some great work. He's doing some really amazing fragrances. And I think he's one that we should definitely watch for to see what he does. Like recently he created for Room 1015 Wave Child. If you're a fan of that one, maybe you haven't discovered Une Nuit Nomade yet, check that fragrance out. But he's done some amazing fragrances, and I'm going to keep an eye out, because the vanilla that I'm going to get to here, the third fragrance, I absolutely loved, and that's Definitely really, really great. Again, this house to me speaks to me. It's a house that I really, really love. Again, if I was to do a top 10 French houses, more modern houses, if you want that video, let me know. This house would probably end up at the top. We'll see. But let's move on to the second fragrance. All right, next we're talking about Silver Saffron. So this one, again, it's Jerome de Marino. It features notes of raspberry, iris, saffron, papyrus, myrrh. So are you guys a fan of saffron? For me, it's not my all-time favorite note, but I enjoy it. Sometimes it does also go very metallic, which this one does. So that could be a bit overwhelming to the nose, especially if you have a very sensitive nose. It could come off like a knife, cut right through. So the saffron note does have those kind of experiences or touches, but I felt like this was pretty decent enough even to tolerate the sharpness. And also, if you guys don't know, saffron does create a leathery touch in fragrances. So raspberries are found in, you know, leather fragrances, especially Tuscan leather. Does this smell like Tuscan leather? It didn't. If I didn't mention, I actually met with a brand during TFWA and a duty-free show in Cannes, and I got to sample these once again, and I saw the presentation, amazing looking bottles. From that time, when I sampled this one just recently, like 2.5 weeks ago, I don't recall this smelling like Tuscan leather, but let's go ahead and try. To me, Tuscan leather doesn't smell metallic, but this one did. Now let's go ahead and try. So now that I'm smelling it again, there is a light, very light hint of something like Tuscan leather. I'm not saying this is identical, but there's definitely a major leathery aspect about it. The raspberry in this is acting a bit gourmand, especially next to the iris, and the iris is coming off buttery. So the texturally, it's very buttery, but a bit flaky as well here. Yeah, definitely a bit on the metallic side, but this is very tolerable. I don't remember this being that great when I sampled it in Cannes, so I'm actually enjoying it a lot more now compared to when I sampled it over there. So it's a leather in the end. It's a very saffron, spicy leather, definitely very powdery. There's resinous touches here for sure. And fruity. Yeah, definitely gets fruity, woody. There's earthiness coming from the woodiness and earthiness from the papyrus note. And of course, as I mentioned, there's definitely some metallic touches here with that saffron note. But I think it's nicely executed leather fragrance. To me, it's very leathery, but spicy and fruity at the same time. This is enjoyable. It's not my favorite of the collection, but I like it, if that makes sense. I don't hate it, but I will say that leather fragrances, there's a lot out there, and this one kind of fits into the category of something that might be a distant relative of fragrances reminding you of Tuscan leather. This has faint reminders of it, not identical, but it does kind of give me that kind of an effect. But I like it. It's a good fragrance, but still, between the two, I think Jardin de MISFAH extract is my favorite. All right, and finally, the third fragrance, the vanilla fragrance, is called Estrella de la Mañana. Now, this is a vanilla fragrance in that it's a very dark and also leathery take on vanilla, featuring notes of birch, vanilla, cocoa, and benzoin tears. So let's go ahead and smell this. Ooh, this is strong. Strong. This is the most potent. From what I remember when I was speaking to the brand owners during Cannes, I think from what I remember, this is the lowest concentration between the three extracts because it was so potent the way it was created. And this is standing out a lot. Like, this kind of chokes me. The birchwood creates a leathery smokiness. And of course, we've got the vanilla. It's not a syrupy vanilla here. I'm smelling this without even putting my nose to the strip. We've got a vanilla that's very, very powdery. Chocolate or cocoa coming in. Not necessarily giving me a more creamy vibe, but kind of mixing in with the vanilla to give you a chocolate vanilla combo. More on the vanilla, less on the cocoa. The cocoa is not so super potent. But also the benzoin creates a very resinous experience here, but an overall very powdery effect. Benzoin, vanilla work wonderfully together to create an ambery effect. Benzoin is a resin. Love this note. It's a bit vanillic, but resinous and ambery and it really does great things to fragrances, especially when it features vanilla. So it creates an ambery effect, amber vanilla. Would this have gone into the amber vanilla, you know, a video that I just did? I'm uncertain. I have to test it out, but I'm really loving the way it smells. But let's go ahead and smell it. Wow, on this strip, it's more chocolatey. The chocolate is king here. It's like a leather chocolate. This is so good. Really, really amazing fragrance. I love this. I really, really love it. Really love it. Like, when I sprayed it without even putting my nose to the strip, I got a lot of that kind of leathery, smoky birch, the powdery vanilla, the powdery cocoa, and of course the resinous and sweet benzoin. But on here, it's a bit more gourmand. I'm going to spray this one on. But also, if you take a look, the color of the strip, let's see if I can get that to focus, is faded a bit on both the Estrella de la Mañana and the Jardin de MISFAH. But it didn't do that with the silver saffron. So these are pretty potent. Let's spray this on skin. Oh, I'm smelling more chocolate now, too. Oh boy, this is good. This is a very masculine take on vanilla. Very masculine take on a gourmand fragrance. In fact, I'm not sure I can fully call this a gourmand. But wow, wow, wow. This stuff is amazing. Really, really amazing stuff. This is fantastic. Super delicious. Extract 2, oh my god. This is going to be a hit, guys. This is amazing. This is Estrella de la Mañana. Oh my god. Is it my favorite now next to Jardin de MISFAH from this house? It's dark. It's a bit bitter. It's almost like taking the darkness out of the vanilla pods. Because if you've ever heard, or probably you've read, vanilla from the pods is very leathery, and I think that's what they've done here. Taken the dark side of the vanilla pods and added it into a fragrance. Vanilla fragrances generally go very gourmand, sweet, syrupy, sticky, sugary. This is not that. It's a bit animalic, by the way. Wow, that's good. Estrella de la Mañana, guys. That's going to be amazing. That's the third and final fragrance from the new collection Legends from the house of Une Nuit Nomade. Let me know if you've gotten your nose on these 3 fragrances. I think they're going to be really big hit. Jardin de MISFAH already has, you know, followers. It's already a hit, so it's just basically an update to it in an extract form. But I think the big hit is going to be Estrella de la Mañana for a very masculine take on a vanilla gourmand leathery fragrance. Amazing, fantastic fragrance. Again, if you're curious to discover more about this house, just search my channel for Une Nuit Nomade. I think it's easier to do it on a computer. And then it'll give you a list of videos that I've spoken about on the channel. And then, of course, the standalone video or 2 should be there focusing on the brand with the different fragrances. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. I'll start talking about the fragrances further as time goes on, and I think these are going to be also perfect for winter wear, especially the Estrella de la Mañana. So good, really, really good. And yeah, I'll let you guys know more about it in the coming days and weeks on videos. But other than that, thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.